What these Epstein victims said yesterday drove Nancy Mace into a full-blown panic attack. Because it members of the House Oversight Committee meeting yesterday behind closed doors with 6 of Epstein's victims, and Mace was spotted leaving early with tears streaming down her face. With her later saying on X, as a recent survivor, I had a very difficult time listening to their stories. Full-blown panic attack, sweating, hyperventilating, shaking, I can't breathe. With her adding, I feel the immense pain of how hard all victims are fighting for themselves because we know absolutely no one will fight for us. Right in her committee, they've been waiting for the DOJ to comply with its subpoena for the full Epstein files for weeks at this point. So far, they've only gotten 33,000 pages, which they just released to the public last night. But also, a key thing there is that according to the Democrats on the committee, 97% of the documents were already publicly available. And in fact, according to reports, even some of those appear to be more heavily redacted now than they were when Attorney General Pam Bondi.
So it seems like, irrespective of what the Trump administration wants, that they're going to release a version of the files. Now, we don't know if that's going to be an official version passed through the House, or if that's going to be a unofficial version with some of the victims coming together and creating a list. But we know it's probably going to be some type of version of a list. So before we get to Nancy Mace, I just want to make a timeline of all the events that happened, and then we'll catch up to Nancy, that's a lot of beans, you nasty bitch, Mace. So Jeffrey Epstein initially starts off as a teacher, and then he transitions into financial banking, and then starts his own firm where he gets connections to billionaires. So his firm is strictly billionaires, but he has most of his clients hidden, which is unheard of for a new startup to be managing billionaires. And by the mid 1980s, he gets connected to Leslie Wexner, who is the billionaire behind Victoria's Secret, Bed Bath & Beyond, and at the time was one of the richest, if not the richest person in the world. He gets arrested, and he gives full financial and power of attorney to Jeffrey Epstein, which is really weird and strange. And you would usually give it to a family member, somebody you know you can trust, somebody like blood, like your wife, your oldest child. But he gave it to Jeffrey Epstein, which is like a huge red flag. Also around this time, he's connected to one of the biggest Ponzi schemes of all time, and he ends up getting away from it. But the people convicted of the crime said that he was a key factor later on after the convictions and all the cases have been wrapped up. And by the 1990s to 2000s, he was wrapped in all the elite circles. By this time, he was with Donald Trump. He was with Bill Clinton. He was with Prince Andrew. He was with the former Prime Minister of Israel. And these weren't just little ties here and there. No, he was connected. He was going on trips with these people often. He was going on plane rides with these people often, alone. He was throwing parties. And he would have framed pictures of them together, quoted as saying he's best friends with Donald Trump for 10 years. It's also alleged from Jeffrey Epstein's butler that he was intimate with Melania Trump. And the conspiracy is that because he's connected to the former prime minister, that he was part of Mossad and he was getting intelligence on a lot of rich and powerful people like the president. And at the time of Bill Clinton's presidency, he had information about Bill Clinton cheating on Hillary Clinton. And they had some dispute about something going on with Israel. And that former prime minister blackmailed Bill Clinton on it. 2005, Palm Beach investigates Jeffrey Epstein on a alleged 14-year-old rape. And when it gets announced, dozens and dozens of victims come forward. And by 2008, he gets a sweetheart deal, and it's a non-prosecution agreement, meaning that anybody connected to this crime won't get prosecuted if he pleads guilty, as well as it only being 13 months with work release, which means that Jeffrey Epstein is literally allowed to leave the prison for most of the day. He can essentially leave his same life, but just has to check in with the prison, which is unheard of. This is for high level people that did some type of tax evasion and stuff like that. And then they snitch out on all these big lawyers that are working with it. And then they go into these sweetheart prisons, but never for a sex trafficker. As well as it's unheard of for it to also be a non-prosecution deal, meaning that we can't prosecute anybody connected to you. And the conspiracy is that he was connected to people in the FBI. And that same person who is in charge of the case later goes on to be nominated by Donald Trump as a FBI director, and that'll be important for later on. So in 2009, he gets released. He continues to travel and gets more trafficking allegations, and he starts to operate his island. And this is where he is alleged to do a lot of the sex trafficking with the high level public figures like Prince Andrew and the former prime minister. As soon as Jeffrey Epstein is arrested by 2019, all the famous clientele start to back off and try to distance themselves. But later on, they're all deeply connected to him. Also, they find lies like Prince Andrew saying that, hey, I stopped talking to him around 2010, but emails showed that he was talking to him deeply every day until like 2015. So he was going on trips with him until 2015, but claiming that he stopped talking to him by 2010. And just a few months after he gets arrested, he is found dead. And we know how this goes. He's allegedly on suicide watch and he's left in a cell alone, allegedly commits suicide, but was previously on video saying, I would never commit suicide. And he was seemingly healthy, as well as there being an autopsy saying that Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. He was murdered. I mean, it's straight out of the fucking wire. And as the case starts to grow, public outrage causes them to prosecute more people connected to Jeffrey Epstein, the biggest one being Ghislaine Maxwell. So in 2020, she's arrested, convicted of sex trafficking, and sentenced to 20 years. But then nobody else is prosecuted. Prince Andrew, Trump, Bill Clinton, the powerful people and billionaires he's connected to. And in 2024, Trump goes on a crusade saying he's going to release these files that people have been demanding to be released. Then he does a bullshit Jeffrey Epstein file release, makes a big show of it. People are outraged. And then he kind of claims that it's fake news and it's a Democratic hoax. Connections between him and Jeffrey Epstein come out. He says a bunch of stuff and then it turns out to be lies. Like when he cut ties with Jeffrey Epstein and the reasons that he cut ties for Jeffrey Epstein, as well as a weird ass birthday letter coming out where he draws the outline of a woman with a note and it ends with Enigma never ends. It's a great secret that we have. Why the fuck is he sending that to the pedophile king is beyond me. That's some weird fucking shit, bro. That shit is fucking creepy. And we're completely caught up. And so right now they're doing a meeting outside of the Capitol led by Thomas Massie, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Ro Khanna. They convinced Nancy Mace to come out and vote for the release of the files. And here's what fucking kills me. It took you this long to be in favor of it and you're a sex trafficking victim. So it took you to talk to these people for you to want to release the files and get justice for them. And the total disrespect of the fucking American voters. Who were the main people that wanted the files released? It wasn't Democrats, it was Republicans. And almost every Republican voted against it except two. Nancy Mace, those are some nasty beans, you dirty bitch. And Trump is going behind the scene, threatening every Republican that if you vote for this bill, it'll be considered a hostile act towards MAGA. We're about an afternoon away from Trump being like, I'll suck your dick if you don't vote for that bill. Please don't vote for that bill. I'll give you a good little hand job. But the good news is that some type of justice is probably going to come out for this. And if you could imagine being a victim of one of these crimes and you finally get the courage to come out and you finally feel like there's going to be justice, there's a lot of public outrage, people are aware of what's going on, you come out and you defeat the final boss, the billionaire connected to all these powerful people, and then the fucking president of the United States fucking backdoors you, I'd be fucking pissed. To put this in One Piece terms, it's like if you battled Aka Inu for 10 days straight and you finally beat him and then you think you won the battle and then fucking Prime Whitebeard comes out of the background and sneaks you with a Goro no Mi. So it's been crazy for them, and I know I'm joking right now, but this shit is actually fucked up. If anything, the amount of struggle that these women and men have been through, it's kind of insane. Think about how far we've gone down in society to where like Richard Nixon retired after doing some slight corruption. This is the biggest conspiracy theory in the history of the United States, and this is just a normal Tuesday. Tomorrow something bigger will come on the news. You know, Trump will invade Chicago or Gavin Newsom will make a funny post. But I think we get the feeling that nothing is really changeable, despite how badly we might want it. nothing will probably come of this. I mean, we can get mad and stuff, but at the end of the day, this feels like a TV show that always has a next chapter, will always keep going. And even if the worst crimes are committed, or if there's real life people that have been hurt and haven't got justice, they might never see a resolution. Things will always just move forward, and the next soap opera will happen. If it's with Nick Fuentes, or if it's with Kanye West, or if it's with a back and forth with Gavin Newsom. Jubilee just dropped a new insane video. But things never really change. Things just keep on going. Even if things keep on going in the mainstream, we can make a subtle change. We can stay informed. We can not support the people that have hurt these women, even if it's in a smaller form, even if it's not buying their products, not going to Victoria's Secret, or not voting for Trump, not voting for Hillary or Bill Clinton. We can hold these, even if things start to feel hopeless. We do have the power at the end of the day. Even if it's a small voice, we still have a voice. And you know what? I might actually have a quote. I keep a bunch of quotes in my phone. And we're going to do this live. We're going to do it live. We're going to do it live, and we're going to do it together. I know it's by Mother Teresa. Okay. It says, "We ourselves feel that what we are doing is just a drop in the ocean, but an ocean would be less because of that missing drop." And I'm dyslexic, so I probably didn't read it the best, but just think about that quote and remember it. But yeah, that's the video today. Y'all have a good one. I can't wait to start streaming. If you guys want to join my stream, you guys totally can. And I'll play with y'all, and it'll be fun. And it'll probably be within the next 2 weeks to a month where I start streaming every day. So thank y'all.